Well, Ashley Groshek, LMFT, licensed marriage and family therapist.
Cool. Wonder Woman?
I did see Wonder Woman.
What'd you think?
I loved it.
Why?
Strong, kick-ass woman in a dress, but it didn't really matter, and like taking on just bullshit.
Yeah.
and I really loved I kind of loved her like naiveness and how like she kind of learned about the reality of the world, and it didn't make her jaded.
Yeah.
And it really like was like, no, yeah, the world is shit, but we still gotta love each other and we still gotta come together and we gotta do this because it's the right thing to do. For me, it's not a word I think about very often, but I should. But it's kind of like how all of our bits and all of our stuff and all the parts of our story come together and create kind of who we are and how we really can't get away from it. I'm not only a woman, but I'm a lesbian and I'm married to a woman with a disability and I'm gender nonconforming ish and people look at me funny when I pee. Like I have to like deal with all of that, and that kind of shapes who I am and where I am in the world and how people view me. How is it? I've got a kid who is queer, biracial. Parents, mom is Iranian, dad is Colombian, and trying to live in those kind of worlds and like trying to just be who he is in this gender non-conforming thing, but he has to worry about people assuming he's Muslim and thinking he's a terrorist. So he was wearing this tunic for a while, just trying to simplify his life. But his dad was like, "You can't wear that; people are going to hurt you." Well, one of the things that we kind of, he was pissed at his dad, like, "Fuck you, dad." Sorry for my language. Like just mad at his dad, like, "How dare you? Like, you don't know me and respect who I'm trying to be. I'm just trying to like simplify my life and not have to pick out clothes and just be a simple monk." So as he was trying to be that week, and he was really upset with his dad, and I really tried to explain to him where his dad was coming from. Like, you are a brown man and you've got curly hair and you're from Arab descent, and here you are walking around in a tunic, and we live in this scary world right now. And like, while your dad didn't come across in a way that was going to be nurturing and understanding, I can see where he was coming from. And he told me I was dumb and I didn't know what I was talking about, and then went home and thought about it and came back a day later and was like, "You're right, and this really sucks, and I don't know how to deal with that." So really, I kind of where I've been working on with my kids is really working on like self-esteem and really working on building up to how you can be your true self, and doing that through sand tray, through talk therapy, through art, and really like the more I think you can build up who you are as a person, the more grit and resilience you can kind of put up your shield and like deflect all of the crap that comes at you. And I also work with my kids on coming alongside kind of their oppressors or their parents, or coming alongside somebody who's talking smack to you and finding out where their perspective is. Because I think if you can come alongside somebody and learn where they're coming from and learn their story, then you can better navigate. Maybe it doesn't come so hurtful, and you can really figure out how to get past that and help each other learn from their experience. I'm big about like coming alongside. Like, you got to come alongside your dad instead of getting mad at your dad for saying all this stuff. Like, why don't you ask him why he's afraid, and ask him like to talk to you more about where this is coming from, so you can see his perspective instead of just seeing your own. So growing up, my story is I come from a super religious family, like religious family, and I'm queer, and I have my aunts didn't come to my wedding, my aunt and my uncle and their kids, and I could have like cut them off and been like, whatever, I'm done with you. You don't agree with who I am, go away. My cousin, who's a couple years younger than me, is actually a youth minister, and he told me one day, he purposely asked me questions that are challenging and against his viewpoints, because I'm able to listen to where he's coming from and provide a perspective he's never thought about, and because of that, he's changed his worldview. And so I think it's kind of like, if you can come alongside, and there's a point where you can do it safely. I think you both can learn where each other's coming from, and if you listen to hear and listen for knowledge instead of listening to combat, you're going to get a lot farther and things are going to have change. But if you come at each other to listen to combat, then you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to building that self-esteem and that confidence and knowing what you will and will not put up with. And are you in a place today to listen for understanding? Or are you in a place where you're just going to combat? Because if you're going to combat, don't go there. And if you're up against a person that's not going to change, maybe you just, again, walk away for safety. And like, where is your line as a person? How long, how much can you handle before it becomes too much for you? And are you able to stand up for yourself? If we're going like sexual exploitation, I have a kid right now that I'm really concerned about is being groomed and trying to be trafficked. Super naive. And so like I'm working with her on identifying what are the red flag phrases that these people are using with you, and when do you know enough is enough. And we see her now acting out in program and saying and doing the things that people are clearly saying and doing to her. And that's scary to think about. Oh, baby, I'd never say anything like that to you. Or, I'm going to get a place soon. Why don't you come stay with me if things are so bad at home? Or the girl will go, well, so-and-so is the only person in my life who listens to me right now. And then she will then go talk to another peer who she's kind of interested, kind of flirting with, and she will use those same lines on her. Oh, baby, come on, I would never hurt you. Why don't you just come hang out at my house? It'll be okay.
So it just kind of replicates itself.
Yeah, and kids are amazing. Like that Lyrian, kids are Drykers. Kids are amazing observers, terrible interpreters of the world. And so, and this young person is on the autism spectrum and doesn't quite get social cues. So she sees all this stuff, thinks that's how you relate with people, and then regurgitates it back out and doesn't get good responses from it. I think for me, it's all about the relationship. Like, you can't just come up to a kid you don't know and be like, what you're doing is dumb. And they're going to be like, cool, I'm going to do it 10 times more and harder and longer. But for me, like, I'm really big on relational stuff. Like, sometimes we don't even talk about therapy in my office. We just chat, And so it's all about, like, building that relationship and letting my kids know up front, like, hey, I'm not going to bullshit you. Like, I'm going to tell you how it is, and sometimes it's going to suck, and sometimes it's going to hurt. And it's not because I'm trying to stifle your life or control you or whatever, but sometimes adults do know things. And it's okay to trust us. And know that they're just going to do what they want anyway. And then just, when they make that mistake, being that person that's going to be like, okay, so that didn't work, what are we going to do next? And not like, I told you so. Helping a kid find just, I think like, for me, I think of you with like attachment and helping kids find resiliency, helping kids find whatever, if you can connect them to one solid person that can help give them hope, if you can connect them to one, you can connect them to two, then they can connect to three. And so really trying to help kids know that there is kind of hope, and that helping them find that one person that might be enough to help get them through these hard times. Yeah, like, so, hey, you're smoking pot every day. Can we smoke pot twice a day? Or twice a week? And with, they do what they do because they need it, or that it works, or that it's fulfilling a need. And if you take away that crutch right away, then what do they have to fall back on? And so, like, if we can do less risky behaviors, yes, they're still risky, but at least things are getting safer. If you're going to have sex with condoms. I would love to save all of my children. You just be that solid person that they know they can come back to every week. In our case, I see them daily. In some cases, you see them weekly, monthly. But you're that one solid person you're going to be real, you're going to be straightforward, you're going to be honest, you're not going to sugarcoat, but you're also not going to shame and condemn them for what they're doing. Like, that was a dumb choice. Cool. I still like you. What are we going to do next time? And knowing that they can make mistakes and still come back and kind of be forgiven and moving forward. But it's hard. I don't know if that answered your question.